Good morning, girly girls. What are you up to? Huh? You got lots to tell the peoples? You've been good girlies staying out of the garden. Yes, you have. Garden's looking great, y'all. YouTube friends and family, and welcome to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So you find me outdoors. It is a gorgeous day, y'all. We got about a half an inch of rain yesterday, so not a ton. I did go ahead and water and organic fertilize. I am starting to really get all the pumpkins. Let's see if I can, right here's one. So I am super excited. And for those of you who don't know, I have a big love of fall being my favorite season. I love spooky season, and I love pumpkins, and you can't have too many of those. So fingers crossed. But today, because this year I could not grow sweet corn after my debacle last year, I thought, you know, let's take a little trip over to a local farmer's market called Pfeiffer Orchard. I'm just sharing with you some of my sunflowers have bloomed, my other flowers have bloomed, my peppers are going crazy. I'm starting to cut back the herb bed, pretend that bucket isn't there. And y'all, I hope you can see this perspective. Maybe not. Yeah, so my tomatoes are now larger than I am. And guys, we are loaded with very healthy tomatoes everywhere I look. I planted, I think, 6 varieties. So I have like Big Boy and Better Boy, like slicing tomatoes. I have, Amish paste tomatoes. I have some black tomatoes, some purple tomatoes. I did not grow yellow. And a lot of the little, like cherry tomatoes. So, yes. And this morning, I was actually able to pick my first batch here of green beans. My butternut squash, although it still looks pale, was fed again today. It is blooming. I have a lot of zinnias blooming, and of course all of my zucchini. So yeah, kind of going crazy out here. The girls are out running and playing this morning. I have one in the laying box, is why you only saw 3. Miss Violet still hasn't laid for me. So she should pretty soon, usually within about 2 weeks, pardon me, of not being broody. So let's go, excuse me. Let's head down the road to Yellow Springs, Ohio, and we will see what Pfeiffer Orchard has. They do put out a weekly crop report. They do have a website if you're local and you're interested, and it looks like they have lots of goodies. So let's go see what we can find, shall we? All right, y'all, we made it. See a few dark clouds, but that's not going to deter me. So let's go in. And in case you're wondering, why on earth are you going to a farmer's market since you have a big garden? And that is because there are certain things that I can't grow, like corn is like deer and bird feed. And just certain things that are very difficult for me to grow, like cantaloupe and watermelon, I have very sporadic luck with. So let's go in and see what they have.
watch you on YouTube.
All right, y'all. Well, I just got back from Piper's. Frankie's smelling the roses. These were from the spray from Mom's casket. And then this is from my uncle and my cousins. So, yeah, and that's my cat that I've had for many years. I did get a dozen ears of corn, and Frankie will probably fall in love with it, but I got myself a cantaloupe. And then this is a wax melt, and yeah, $8.50. It's very expensive, but these have been the best wax melts that I have ever found. Milk and sugar is my favorite scent, so I did purchase one of those. My bill was $22. Hey, quit eating the plant. Stop it. I'm going to film this actually over 2 days, and we're going to work on the corn, and I'm actually going to try a couple ways. One, of course, is I'm going to blanch it and cut it off the cob. And then the second way is I think I am going to try to freeze it on the cob. And hello, Michelle. I met one of my subscribers at Piper's, and it was the first time I've ever been recognized, so it was really quite delightful. So thanks for the tip, Michelle. We're going to give it a try tomorrow. All right, y'all. It's 4 days later. So as I had shared on my live, I had filmed that on Sunday, and everything went sideways. And so I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set here, and I'm gonna shuck corn, because we are going to preserve this up. Now, everybody's got different opinions about how corn is. Okay, well, that came apart really good. How corn is best. And I'm gonna fully admit to you all, I was a little bit worried that, you know, corn's been in the fridge for 4 days. I did lose a little bit of the cantaloupe, but nothing major, right? Well, what you need, Fancy Ray? I'm sorry, guys. You know, when you hear my videos, you're probably going to hear chickens in the background. So today's kind of an interesting day. It is about 6:30. I've watered. We are supposed to get rain today, but they're saying it's not going to be until this afternoon, till like 2 o'clock. So my garden being in full sun from about 11 o'clock on, it's going to be a problem. I did water yesterday, but I had skipped 2 days of watering. And guys, we've been in such a drought here that I have been watering pretty much on the daily. And I can see certain crops are struggling, particularly my butternut squash. What do you need, girls? Hello, Fancy Ray. Hello, Violet. They're all right here, y'all. You can't see them, but they're probably after. They love corn. So this is bicolor, yellow and white. Smells amazing. Yeah, you can have some if you want. I don't think you're gonna want the shucks. So I thought, you know, I'm gonna come out here, I'm gonna shuck corn. We'll get it blanched and immediately cooled. Once it's had a chance to cool off, we are going to cut it off the cob and freeze it. I just have 12 ears, so like not that much. One of the things I did want to share with you, I don't know until the video is edited, I won't really know how much you could hear. But y'all, when I was at Piper's, saw my first person, you know, that recognized me, that I don't know, you know, outside of YouTube. So hello again, Michelle. I know I said that earlier, but that was 4 days ago. So yeah, this is really nice corn, guys. And it doesn't seem to have lost much in sitting in the fridge. What I will tell you is I also need to get a freeze dryer full of zucchini going, because this morning I went out and I picked yesterday. I missed a couple. Sometimes they're hard to see, and you know, if you miss a zucchini for like 2 days, it's like 7 feet long. Yeah. So I'm gonna see if I can do some seed saving out of that. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today is some discussion from people about whether gardening is cost effective. So here's what I can tell you from my perspective. As I went through Piper's, I tried to focus on, and I'm not slamming Piper's, I go there all the time, y'all. I tried to focus on like the cost per item. One of the things was the zucchini, and they were just like an average size zucchini. They were $1.39 each. $1.39. I've probably harvested at least 20, if not maybe a little bit more. And Violet, still no egg from Miss Violet 4 days later. But there is a way you can garden more economically. But here's how I kind of approach it. Gardening is one of my hobbies. I get so much joy and overwhelm from watching things grow. Yes, do you want to come and be held? Is that what you need? They're a little bit spoiled, y'all. Violet. Chickens. So, how much money do you spend on hobbies? Well, I can honestly tell you, I don't spend a lot on garden because y'all know that I start my seeds indoors about March, which, you know, is fun for me to do. I love watching things sprout and grow. Have I spent money on my garden? Absolutely. Do I have to buy seeds? Yes, on things I don't seed save, and there are things I don't seed save. Garlic, onions, but I try to save some seed and buy some seed. Come here, girl. Come here. Come here. Yeah. She's like, I got to be on the video. Yeah, I know. Do you want... I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, you can have some corn. Yeah, you can have some. Lordy, guys. So what other expenses do you have for a garden? Well, there's the water bill. If you know, if it's not raining, my water bill's been an average of $5 higher a month, which is not bad. I can afford $5. And fertilizer and soil reconditioner if you do that as well. So there is some associated expense, but I will, as long as I'm able, I will probably garden for a couple reasons. One thing is, this is organic food. And have you priced organic food lately? Terrifically expensive. So I'm saving money on organics that I probably would not spend the money on. It helps me hobby-wise. It gives me something to do, in other words. Keeps me off the streets. And that's a joke, y'all. Well, this is coming out nice. There's a few spots, you know, maybe where it's a little, like a few kernels mushed, but for the most part it looks fine. So I stressed out about this for nothing. I make my own compost. I have chicken manure that I can amend beds with. Again, I'm not, you know, breaking the bank on water. I do have a rain barrel. I find the rain barrel most useful for me for mixing specialty fertilizers like my pumpkin juice, things like that, where I'm going to mix it up at a gallon at a time, and I can just use the rainwater, so it gets used as well. So I don't see how possibly I could be spending more money gardening than I would if I shopped, particularly if I shopped for organic. And Piper's is not the least expensive place, but what I will tell you is it's local, so you're supporting your local farmers and community. And I mean, occasionally they'll have like tomatoes from Tennessee or Michigan cherries, you know, things that are special for that state, and that's fine. We're still supporting the U.S., and I think that's a great thing. So I will always have to shop at the farmer's market for things that I can't or won't grow. Y'all, my green beans that I planted 3 times are going nuts, so I'm gonna have to harvest some green beans today too. I think next year I'm gonna bypass the green beans. Not that I don't like them, is I don't enjoy growing them. I hate breaking beans. That was one of my chores as a child, and I just don't enjoy it. Not a bit. All right, we're up to our last, I only had a dozen ears of corn. We're up to our last ear of corn. I wanna get the freeze dryer started. It's that hard to shuck corn. All these corn shucks I'm going to put, or shucks, or whatever you call them, I'm gonna put them in my compost. I see 18 mosquitoes hovering, so I need to get out of the mosquito bay we have here. I swear we have a lot of mosquitoes in Ohio. Yeah, so got that done. I'm gonna take a peek at the green beans to see, you know, how they're coming along. Yes, Miss Marigold. They almost want to talk. And we'll get busy preserving up some of this food. All right, y'all, so as you see, peas are kind of going crazy. So much for these being bush peas. Kind of wish I hadn't put them in there, but I did. But let's take a look here at the green beans, because there are a lot. And yeah, the chickens followed me over. So, wow. Okay, some bug bites, but not awful. I've seen worse. And I'll just share with you what they look like. My goodness, there's a lot of beans. Oh, Lordy, we're gonna have to have a cannon day, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, lots of beautiful green beans. So I'm gonna keep picking and scratching mosquito bites, and I'll see you shortly. Get away. All right, y'all. So, excuse the water on my shirt. I just washed these zucchini and I was doing a thumbnail. Yeah, this is what happens if you miss a zucchini for like 2 days. But I'm not gonna despair. I've just kicked on the freeze dryer. I'm going to be freeze drying more zucchini for, you know, winter baking, etc. These I'm going to try to seed save from. So back to our earlier discussion about, you know, is it really, I guess I could get myself lined up, couldn't I? Y'all, I know the cat's laying there. I'm aware of that. I just live here. I just take care of him. He does what he wants to do. I try not to stress about it. So a zucchini that I like to eat looks like this on the inside. So it's starting to form seeds, but it's relatively immature and tender. And then I just put it through, excuse the noise. I just run it through the food processor on the shred blade. And then I will put the put the shredded zucchini on the trays, and we'll go in the freeze dryer. I also harvested a whole host of things. A few cucumbers I missed, a few that aren't a bad size. We've got our corn. Guys, I grew some green peppers. A couple jalapenos just for fresh eating, and a pretty good selection of green beans. So we've got a lot of food preservation to get done today. So let's get into it. And I'm gonna go shred up my $100 worth of zucchini and get that on the trays. We'll come back and we'll start working on our corn next, I think. Stay tuned. Just to show you, this is the inside of one of the overgrown zucchini. So there aren't really definitive mature seeds. So what am I gonna do with this? I'm gonna turn it into eggs by giving it to my chickens, because they do enjoy anything green. So I'm going to set that aside. I need to get myself a chicken bowl. I am salvaging the tender parts. Wow, there's not a lot in there. So as you see, there's very little usable zucchini, but my chickens will enjoy it. So I got a couple pieces out. We'll cut the biggest zucchini, and if there are seeds to show you, I will share that. So once again, these seeds are not mature. So what I've done is I cut out the tough part with the immature seeds because it's not very pleasant to eat. And what I'll do is I will just leave a zucchini to fully mature. Now, one of the things to know when you purchase seeds, and I purchased these seeds, is they may or may not be hybrids. In other words, you can't get seeds from them that will germinate. They're not viable. Yeah, so really don't have much in here in the way of mature seeds, so we'll just cut out the part we don't want. And then I do keep a compost bowl, I don't know about this one, over here, so that I can just take things right out to the compost bin. Yeah, there might be a few viables here, but we'll leave one on the vine because trust me, there's a ton more coming. You know, last year I only planted one zucchini seed. This year I planted, I don't know, 6 or 8 plants. I planted a lot. Because my one last year did not produce very well. So I thought, you know, maybe I better plant more. Well, probably got a little carried away because they're doing super well. Yes, yes they are. Yeah, I just don't know, guys, if this is gonna taste very good. It'll probably be fine. All right, I'm gonna keep working and I will bring you back when we get ready to start our next project. Y'all, we've got our big pot of water boiling. And again, this is how I blanch my corn. There's a lot of different ways. And I'm gonna leave the heat on high. So I've washed the ears well after I, oh, don't overflow. After I shucked them. And I'm gonna let these simmer for 4 minutes. While these are simmering, I'm gonna get a bowl of really cold water because as soon as the corn comes out of the 4 minutes, and it's starting to come back to a boil because the corn was room temperature by now, I'll plunge them into that ice cold water and let them cool off. Then later we're going to cut it off the cob and vacuum seal it in freezer bags. And that is how I prefer my corn. I'm not a big fan of canned corn. I think the frozen corn tastes way, way better. And that's just my opinion. So let's go ahead and set this timer for 4 minutes and I'll bring you back when we're ready to shock. So while our corn process was going on, I washed and prepped my green beans because we're gonna do a similar process. So since my water was already hot, I am going to blanch these for 3 minutes. And then we will shock them in cold water and then I can vacuum seal them into freezer bags after they drain off a little bit. All right, so all our green beans have blanched for 3 minutes. There's not a ton of them, but certainly enough to make maybe a green bean casserole or something we call hobo casserole. It's kind of like a green bean casserole, but you put a hamburger in it and tater tots and cheese. Probably not good for you. Do not throw your water away either. So some of the nutrition is going to be lost even with blanching, but we're not fully cooking it. But the nutrition that's in the water is really, really good for your garden. So you can let this water cool, and then I will take it out and use it on my garden. So trying to use up all the pieces and parts that I possibly can. So I'm gonna let these cool and drain, and then we're gonna get working on that corn. Because y'all, I have a new little tool. And I admit fully, I love kitchen gadgets. I don't want to leave any of these green beans in there. And this ladle, drainer ladle, whatever you call it, is probably overkill, but you know what? It's what I have. But a little gadget to take corn off the cob, and guys, it makes things so easy. So we're gonna let those chill out. I am going to actually, I know it'll take longer to cool, but I'm gonna cover this just to prevent a lot of heat in the house. Why am I not doing this outdoors today? That is a good question, in case you're wondering, because I do have a semi-outdoor kitchen. Y'all, I figured as soon as I got everything out there, it would start to rain, and of course, the sun is shining. I hope you all will excuse my mess, because this does have a tendency to fling corn kernels. What I have here is a bundt pan, and I cannot claim that this is my original idea. I actually saw Becky from Maker Homestead do it. Well, what is that? Okay, a little piece of some sort of tape. Okay, how did that get on there? Okay, put the small end of the cob into the center of the bundt pan. And guys, this is all you have to do. It is so easy. And I find, and ignore what's flinging on the floor, that if you hold it in the bundt pan, you're less likely to go into the cob. So if you've ever gotten a can of corn and it has hard pieces in it, when they've shaved the corn off the cob, they've gotten too far into the cob. So what am I gonna do with the cobs? Well, you can make corn cob jelly, you can make corn cob syrup, I found out, did not know that. I'm actually gonna put them out for my chickens. I'm gonna freeze them and then sort of dole them out, if you will, so that they love corn, so that they can peck around on the cobs. You know, and it's gonna be a nice way for them to cool down. They love frozen corn. I also do canned corn in the little muffin tins. Oop, have a lot of corn on my hand. Glad I waited to run the vacuum this morning. So I'm gonna finish this up. We'll start bagging, and then I wanna show you a little trick if you happen to have a vacuum sealer, or a Food Saver is the brand I have, how you can still vacuum seal something that is relatively moist. So I hope you'll stay tuned. I'm hoping I can capture this well. Back up just a little bit. So my corn is in the bottom of the bag is sealed, it's already labeled. So once I feed it in here, I have it set to moist. Your vacuum sealer may or may not have that option. And it does have a little tray that will collect some liquid. I'm gonna stick it in. And it's gonna start to vacuum. Did you see the rise of the water? As soon as that water starts to pull up, you wanna shut it off. So is 100% of the air out of the bag? No. And I might have let it go too far. Yeah, so if it doesn't seal, because too much water got through, on the Food Saver, yeah, there's a little tray here. And as you see, I got some corn juice in it. I'm just gonna rinse that out. Pop it back in. And I am going to, did I leave corn? I did leave corn. I'm going to tell it just to seal. So I'm gonna feed it in and hit the seal button. So now I'm bypassing any vacuuming, And hopefully it isn't too wet. If it is too wet, your option is fold this bag in half, cut yourself another bag. Okay, that's sealed, and it's sealed well. And no, it's not 100% vacuumed, but it's close. So let me finish this second bag, and I'll bring you back for some final thoughts. I think our food preservation for today was a high success. Guys, it's only 20 till 9, and I've gotten all of that done. So I have a dozen corn cobs to feed my chickens when we are struggling with those hot August days that we often have in Ohio. I have 2 large bags of corn. I have a lot of fresh green beans. I have some zucchini seed. I have 4 trays of zucchini in the freeze dryer. I still have peppers and jalapenos and cucumbers that I haven't prepped today. But that makes the video too long, guys, so I hope that you will gain some benefit from some of the things that I've shared. So back to the original question, does gardening really save you money? I believe it does. And guys, I'm gonna tell you, here's why. I have food for my chickens from the garden. I have compost for my garden. I seed save for next year's garden. And I have such a bounty of homegrown organic food. Sometimes it's almost more than I can eat. Now, I didn't mention, you know, there is some cost to food preparation, whether it's electricity or if you have a gas stove, in bags, Mylar bags, food saver bags. But you have to remember that you're batch preserving. So you're not adding as much cost to an individual item when you batch prep it. So I still believe that gardening saves me money. It's not my primary reason. I love having organic food, and I love the process of gardening, and that's pretty much why I do it. Is it a lot of work? It can be, y'all. Especially when it comes to weeding. That's my least favorite thing. I hope you've enjoyed this week-long video that I didn't get back to until today. I will plan on seeing you again very soon. I'm not going to put out my schedule right now because, guys, there's still things coming up that I need to do and have to do. Some days are better than others, but pardon me, I'm gonna have the hiccups. On the whole, I think, you know, I'm doing well, and I am persevering, and I'm pushing through. So if you would do me a big favor, go ahead and smash that like button, drop me a comment below. Do you garden? And if so, what's your favorite way to preserve food? Do you prefer canning, freezing, freeze drying, dehydrating? What is your favorite way? And maybe tell us why, so we can learn from each other. All right, until I see you again, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and take care.